Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to our English Learning Podcast. I'm so happy you are here with me today because we are going to talk about something very important, something that many of you have told me about. Many English learners say they can understand English very well when they listen to music, watch a movie, or follow a podcast like this one. But when it is time to speak, they feel stuck. Their mind becomes empty and they don't know what to say. If this is your situation, you are not alone. In fact, it is one of the most common problems for English learners all over the world. I know it can be frustrating because you have already worked hard to understand English. You can follow conversations, you can catch most of the words, but speaking still feels difficult. Don't worry, in today's episode, we are going to talk about why this happens, and more importantly, how you can fix it step by step. I want you to listen carefully, relax, and feel comfortable, because by the end of this episode, you will have a clear idea of what is stopping you from speaking and what you can do starting today to speak English more easily and with more confidence. Before we go into the main points, I want to share a story with you. A few years ago, I had a student named Maria. She was from Brazil, and she loved English. She had been studying it for more than 5 years. She watched English movies every weekend. She listened to English songs every day, and she even followed many English podcasts. When she listened, she understood almost everything. She could laugh at the jokes, she could follow the news, and she could even understand fast conversations in TV series. But there was one problem. When she had to speak, she froze. One day, she went to a cafe in her city and met two tourists from the UK. They smiled at her and said, "Hi, how are you?" And Maria smiled back, but suddenly she couldn't say anything. She wanted to say, "I'm fine, how about you?" But in her mind, the words were not coming. She knew the words, she had learned them years ago, but at that moment they felt locked somewhere deep in her brain. She felt embarrassed, so she just nodded and walked away. Later, she told me, "It's so strange. I understand everything they say, but I can't answer. It's like my brain is full of English, but my mouth doesn't know how to use it." And maybe you also feel this way sometimes. You have the knowledge inside you, but it doesn't come out when you need it. This can make you feel shy, frustrated, or even afraid to speak in the future. I told Maria something very important, and I want to tell you the same thing right now. This problem is normal. It does not mean you are bad at English. It does not mean you will never speak fluently. It simply means that your speaking skills have not had enough active training. Listening and understanding is one part of the language, but speaking is another skill, and it needs its own special practice. Once Maria understood this, she stopped blaming herself. She realized she wasn't broken. She just needed a different kind of practice to unlock her speaking ability. So if you have had similar moments, maybe in a cafe, in a classroom, at work, or even talking to a friend online, I want you to remember that you are not alone. Many learners have been exactly where you are right now, and many have overcome it. And in today's episode, I'm going to share with you the same steps I gave to Maria. Steps that can take you from silent and stuck to speaking with confidence. The core problem explained. Now, my friends, let's talk about the main question. Why does this happen? Why is it that you can listen to a podcast or watch a movie and understand almost everything, but when it is your turn to speak, you feel blocked? The truth is, there is not just one reason. There are many small reasons that work together, and when they combine, they make speaking much harder than listening. Let's go through them one by one, slowly. so you can really understand what is happening inside your brain when you try to speak English. The first reason is that speaking is an active skill, while listening is a passive skill. When you listen, your brain is only receiving information. It's like watching a football game. You're not running, you're just watching. But when you speak, your brain has to produce information in real time. You have to think about the idea you want to share, find the right English words, put them in the right order, make the grammar work, and also pronounce the words clearly. And you have to do all of this in a few seconds, while the other person is waiting for your answer. That's a lot of work for your brain, and if you haven't trained it enough, it will feel slow and heavy. The second reason is lack of speaking practice. Many learners spend years reading English books, listening to English podcasts, and watching videos. But they rarely speak. It's like studying how to swim from a book, but never actually going into the water. You can know everything about swimming, but when you finally enter the pool, you still struggle because your body has never done it before. Speaking works in the same way. You can understand the theory, but you must also train your mouth, your tongue, and your brain to work together in real time. Without that practice, your speaking muscles stay weak. The third reason is fear of making mistakes. This is a big one. Many learners tell me they feel nervous because they don't want to say something wrong. Maybe you worry that people will laugh at you, or they won't understand you. Maybe you feel shy because you are not used to speaking in front of others. This fear can make you freeze. Even if you know the right words, your brain is so focused on not making a mistake that it blocks the flow of your thoughts. The fourth reason is thinking in your own language first. This is something almost all learners do in the beginning. For example, if your native language is Spanish and you want to say, "I'm hungry," you might first think, "Tengo hambre" in Spanish, then translate it into English. This translation takes time, and during that time, you lose your rhythm and confidence. In a conversation, speed is important. If you take too long, you might feel nervous and forget what you wanted to say. The fifth reason is small active vocabulary. Let me explain. You probably know many English words, maybe thousands. This is your passive vocabulary, the words you understand when you hear or read them. But active vocabulary is different. These are the words you can actually use in a conversation without thinking too much. For most learners, their active vocabulary is much smaller than their passive vocabulary. This means you know the word when you hear it, but it's not ready when you need to say it. And finally, another reason is not having enough speaking opportunities. If you live in a country where people don't speak English, you might not have many chances to use the language. Maybe you study at home, but you don't talk to real people in English. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weaker. So, when you combine all of these, lack of speaking practice, fear of mistakes, translating in your head, small active vocabulary, and not enough opportunities, it's no surprise that speaking feels difficult. The good news is, every single one of these problems has a solution, and that's exactly what we are going to talk about next. Step-by-step solutions. Now that we understand why speaking is so much harder than listening, let's talk about how to fix it. I'm going to give you a simple step-by-step plan that you can follow starting today. You don't need expensive courses or a native speaker teacher for this. All you need is a little time every day, a positive attitude, and the courage to keep going even if it feels strange at first. Step 1. Speak every single day, even if you are alone. The number one reason learners don't improve speaking is because they don't speak enough. It sounds obvious, but it's true. You cannot become a good speaker without speaking regularly. The good news is, you don't always need a partner. You can practice alone. Here's how. Every day, choose a topic. Maybe your morning routine, your plans for the weekend, or a news story you heard. Stand in front of a mirror and speak out loud for at least 5 minutes. Pretend you are explaining it to a friend. Don't stop, even if you make mistakes. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to train your brain and mouth to work together. Over time, your sentences will become smoother. Step 2. Use the shadowing technique. Shadowing means listening to a short piece of audio and then repeating it immediately, trying to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and tone exactly. Choose something short. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences from a podcast, a YouTube video, or a TV show. Play the sentence, pause, and then repeat it exactly as you heard it. Do this for 10 minutes every day. This technique improves your pronunciation, listening, and speaking speed all at the same time. Step 3. Stop translating in your head. If you want to speak faster, you must think in English. This doesn't happen overnight, but you can train it. Start with simple things around you. For example, when you make coffee, think, I'm making coffee, not the words in your native language. Describe the weather, what you see, what you feel, all in English. This will help your brain create a direct connection between ideas and English words. Step 4. Learn and use chunks. A chunk is a group of words that often go together and have a clear meaning. Learning chunks helps you speak naturally without building every sentence from zero. Examples. I'm not sure about that. Let me think for a moment. Could you please repeat that? That sounds interesting. When you have a collection of chunks in your memory, you can use them immediately in conversations without thinking about grammar. Step 5. Expand your active vocabulary. Remember, passive vocabulary is what you understand. Active vocabulary is what you can use. To grow your active vocabulary, choose 5 to 10 new words or phrases each week. Don't just read them. Use them in sentences, say them out loud, and try to include them in your daily speaking practice. The more you use a word, the faster it moves from your passive memory to your active memory. Step 6. Find real speaking opportunities. Even if you live in a non-English speaking country, you can still find people to talk to. Join online language exchange groups, conversation clubs, or find a speaking partner on apps. If you can, attend meetups in your city where people practice English. Speaking with real people is the fastest way to build confidence and fluency. Step 7. Record yourself speaking. This might feel strange at first, but it's one of the best ways to improve. Record yourself speaking about a topic for 1 or 2 minutes, then listen to the recording. Notice your pronunciation, your speed, and the places where you get stuck. This will help you see your progress and understand what to work on. Step 8. Focus on progress, not perfection. Remember, your goal is communication, not perfect grammar. If you wait until your English is perfect, you will never speak. The most important thing is to share your message and connect with people. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. Every time you make one, you get closer to fluency. These steps might sound simple, but if you do them consistently, they will completely change the way you speak English. And the best part is, you can start right now, today, even if you are at home alone, overcoming fear and building confidence. Now, my friends, even if you know the best techniques and have a clear practice plan, there is still one big challenge that can stop you from speaking: fear. This fear can take many forms. For some people, it's the fear of making mistakes. For others, it's the fear of being judged or laughed at. And for many, it's simply the nervous feeling that comes when you have to speak in front of other people. I want to tell you something very important. Fear is normal. Every language learner feels it. Even native speakers feel it sometimes when they have to speak in a situation where they don't feel comfortable. So don't think there is something wrong with you if you feel nervous. It's a natural human reaction. The problem is not the fear itself. The problem is when you let the fear control you. If you avoid speaking because you feel nervous, your speaking skills will not grow. You have to speak through the fear. And here's the good news. The more you speak, the smaller that fear becomes. With each conversation, you prove to yourself that you can survive it, and you even start to enjoy it. One thing that really helps is to change your focus. Many learners focus too much on themselves. Am I speaking correctly? Did I make a mistake? Do I sound silly? But when you focus on yourself, you create more pressure and anxiety. Instead, focus on the other person. Think about the message you want to share, not about your grammar. Think about connecting, not performing. Your goal is not to be perfect. Your goal is to be understood. Another helpful tip is to speak slowly. Many learners think that speaking fast will make them sound more fluent, but actually it often makes you feel more nervous and causes more mistakes. When you slow down, you give your brain time to think and your mouth time to form the words clearly. Native speakers will have no problem waiting for you. In fact, they will understand you better. Also, try to change the way you think about mistakes. Mistakes are not something to be ashamed of. They are signs that you are learning. Every mistake teaches you something. In fact, some of your biggest improvement will come right after you make a mistake and learn the correct way. So, instead of avoiding mistakes, welcome them. See them as steps on the path to fluency. Another powerful confidence booster is preparation. If you know you're going to speak English, maybe in a meeting, a class, or a social event, prepare some sentences or phrases in advance. Think about what topics might come up and practice how you will answer. This will make you feel more ready and less anxious in the moment. Finally, remember that confidence is not something you wait for, it's something you build. You don't suddenly wake up one day feeling confident. Confidence grows from action. Every time you speak, even if it's just one sentence, you add a brick to the wall of your confidence. Over time, that wall becomes strong and your fear becomes small. So don't wait until you feel ready to speak. Start now with whatever English you have. Speak a little every day, make mistakes, learn from them. Smile, breathe, and remember, every conversation is another step forward. Real-life practice ideas. Now that we've talked about fear and confidence, let's look at some easy, creative, and even fun ways you can practice speaking English in your everyday life, no matter where you live or how busy you are. The truth is, you don't need to wait for a special speaking class to improve. You can turn almost any moment of your day into speaking practice if you know how. 1. Talk to yourself. This might sound funny, but it's actually one of the most powerful habits you can develop. When you are alone, maybe in your room, in your car, or even while walking, talk out loud in English. You can describe what you are doing, how you feel, what you see around you, or what you are planning to do next. For example, if you are making tea, say, "I'm boiling water, I'm putting the tea bag in the cup, I'm waiting for it to brew." This trains your brain to think in English and makes speaking feel more natural over time. 2. Describe your surroundings. Wherever you are, look around and name the things you see in English. If you're in the kitchen, name the objects: spoon, plate, fridge, oven. If you're outside, describe the weather. It's sunny and warm. I see people walking in the park. The trees are green. The more you do this, the faster your brain will connect English words to real-life objects and situations. 3. Repeat after movies, TV shows, or podcasts. When you watch something in English, don't just watch, interact. Pause after a line and repeat it exactly, copying the pronunciation and tone. If the actor says, "What are you doing here?" try to say it with the same feeling and speed. This is like having free pronunciation practice with real-life examples. 4. Read aloud. If you're reading a book, an article, or even social media posts in English, read them out loud. Reading aloud helps you practice pronunciation, rhythm, and speaking speed while also improving your vocabulary. It also helps your mouth get used to producing English sounds. 5. Voice notes instead of text messages. When you chat with friends or language partners, try sending short voice notes instead of typing. This forces you to speak and gives you practice in real conversation style. Plus, you can listen back to your own voice notes to hear where you can improve. 6. Narrate your day in English. Before you go to bed, spend a few minutes telling the story of your day, but in English. Imagine you're telling a friend what happened. For example, this morning I woke up at 7. I had coffee and checked my emails. In the afternoon, I went to the supermarket and bought vegetables. This builds fluency because you are practicing common daily vocabulary. 7. Join online speaking events or clubs. There are many free or low-cost online English speaking clubs where people from different countries meet and talk. These can be on Zoom, Skype, or even inside Facebook groups. You can find them by searching English Conversation Group or English Speaking Club online. 8. Use everyday situations. When you go shopping, try speaking English in your head about what you are doing. When you are cooking, describe the steps in English. When you are cleaning your room, think of the names of the objects you're moving. The more you connect English to real life, the more natural it becomes. 9. Play the "What would I say" game. When you watch a TV show or listen to a conversation, pause and ask yourself, if I were in that situation, what would I say? Then answer out loud. This is a great way to prepare your brain for real-life situations before they happen. 10. Combine speaking with hobbies. If you like cooking, watch English cooking videos and then explain the recipe out loud. If you enjoy sports, talk about the game in English. If you like photography, describe the pictures you take. This way, English becomes part of something you already love, which makes practice more enjoyable and less like study. Remember, the secret is consistency. These small moments of practice might seem simple, but they add up quickly. Speaking for 5 minutes here, 3 minutes there, and 10 minutes at night can give you hours of speaking practice every week without you even noticing. Motivation and encouragement. My friends, before we finish, I want to speak directly to your heart. Learning to speak English well is not something that happens overnight. It is a journey, and every journey has its ups and downs. Some days you will feel confident and proud of yourself. Other days you will feel frustrated and think you are not improving at all. This is normal. Every learner goes through these moments, and the important thing is that you keep moving forward. I want you to remember this. Speaking English is a skill, and like any skill, the more you use it, the better you get. Think about riding a bicycle. The first time, you were nervous. You were afraid to fall, and maybe you did fall more than once. But you kept getting back up, and with time, riding became easier. Now, you don't even think about it, you just ride. Speaking English works in the same way. Also, please stop comparing yourself to other people. You might see someone who learned to speak fluently in a short time and feel discouraged. But everyone's situation is different. Maybe they have more time, more opportunities, or a background that makes learning easier. Your journey is your own, and the only person you need to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Celebrate every small win. If today you spoke one new sentence, that's a win. If you had a short conversation in English, that's a win. If you understood a joke in a movie without subtitles, that's a win. These small victories are proof that you are moving forward step by step. I also want you to believe in the power of daily practice. Even 10 minutes a day can make a big difference if you do it consistently. Many learners think they need hours of study every day, but that's not true. What matters more is regular contact with English. Speaking a little every day is better than studying for 3 hours once a week. And finally, be patient with yourself. Your brain is doing something amazing. It's building a whole new system of communication. That takes time. But if you keep going, if you keep speaking, if you keep listening, reading, and thinking in English, there will come a day when you suddenly realize that you are speaking without thinking too much, and the words are just flowing. That moment will be worth every single minute you invested in your learning. So, my message to you is this: don't give up. Keep speaking, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself. You have everything you need to become a confident English speaker. You just need to keep using it day after day. So, my friends, let's quickly review what we talked about today. You told me you can understand English well, but speaking feels hard. We learned that this happens because speaking is an active skill that needs its own practice. It is normal to feel nervous, to worry about mistakes, and to feel stuck sometimes. But there are many reasons behind it, like not speaking enough, fear, translating too much, and having a smaller active vocabulary. The good news is all these challenges have solutions. You can start speaking every day, even when you are alone. You can use the shadowing technique to improve your pronunciation and speed. You can stop translating in your head by thinking directly in English. You can learn common chunks of language to speak more naturally. You can find speaking partners or join online groups to practice real conversations. And you can record yourself to notice your progress. We also talked about how important it is to face your fear, focus on communication rather than perfection, and speak slowly. Remember, mistakes are not bad. They are signs of learning. Finally, I shared many real-life ideas you can use to practice English naturally throughout your day. Talking to yourself, describing your surroundings, repeating lines from movies, reading aloud, sending voice notes, and more. Now here is my challenge for you this week. Speak in English for 5 minutes every day. You can talk to yourself, describe your day, or repeat sentences you hear. The important thing is to do it daily, even if it feels hard or strange. This small habit will build your speaking muscle and bring you closer to fluency. Thank you so much for listening today. I believe in you and I know you can do this. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and I will see you in the next episode.